The Liberal government of New Zealand governed from 1891 to 1912. It was the longest-serving government in the nation's history. The Liberal government had a number of leaders. Notable leaders include the notorious Richard Seddon, New Zealand's longest-serving Prime Minister and a man well known for his racism. Another notable Liberal leader was John Ballance. Compared to Seddon, Ballance was a much more ideologically liberal individual. Regardless of the flaws and failures of its numerous leaders, the Liberal government managed to get a lot of good stuff done. The Liberal government did not waste away its 21 years at the top. They took bold action to transform the country for the better. Numerous pro-worker reforms were introduced. Policies were introduced to strengthen and empower trade unions. Child workers were removed from factories. Stricter regulation was introduced to ensure that workplaces were safe and hospitable. Employers were forced to pay their workers in cash. New public holidays were introduced. Limitations on workweek lengths were introduced. Maximum working hours were introduced. Extensive safety standards were introduced. The Liberal government began building the welfare state. Perhaps most notably, the pension system was introduced. Education received greater funding. Government funding gradually replaced fees for most secondary school students. Some sick miners started to receive support payments. Various measures to protect children were introduced. The age of consent was raised, and children were banned from smoking. Significant constitutional reforms also occurred. Women gained the right to vote and divorce rights. The Liberal government did a great deal to drag the country into the future. Some decades later, the first Labour government would pick up the torch and continue pursuing a similar agenda. New Zealand needs another Liberal government, a government of bold Liberal reformers, people who are willing to do as much as possible to transform the nation for the better. That is what we require. We are not condemned to moderate governments that stand by and let the country stagnate and decline. We can have a government that transforms the country for the better. We have had such governments in the past, we can have them again. And at present, we need a bold government that is willing to introduce a long list of progressive reforms. That is what we require. We need serious progress. We have done it in the past, we can do it in the future.